5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You found that to be normal?
Correct.
The next thing you did was check for pulse and bruit.
Just pulse.
Let's start with the right. The peripheral carotid you listed as 2+.
Yes.
Is that within normal limits?
Yes, that's normal.
The brachial pulse is 2+. Within normal limits?
Yes.
The radial pulse is 2+. Within normal limits?
Yes.
Femoral pulse 2+. Within normal limits?
Yes.
I see there is no popliteal pulse, either right or left. Do you know why that is?
It's very difficult to feel, and if the pulses can be palpated distally, then it's usually present.
There is 2+ for dorsalis pedis.
Right.
That was within normal limits as far as you were concerned.
Yes.
And 2+ tibial?
Posterior tibial.
On the right, and the readings were all the same on the left of 2+.
Correct.
As far as you were concerned, his peripheral pulses were all within normal limits?
Yes.
You then checked his spine and you checked off normal. How did you examine his spine at that time?
By palpation.
In doing that, did you have to turn him over?
No, you put your hand underneath him.
You examined his abdomen, and by inspection you say normal. You have circled the word flat, am I correct?
Yes.
And written the word non-tender. Is that on inspection, or is that under the palpation portion?
That's palpation.
The fact that he had a flat abdomen was a normal sign?
Yes.
You then palpated his abdomen?
Yes.
And found it to be non-tender?
Correct.
Do I conclude from that your inspection of his abdomen by palpation was normal?
Yes.
You then did percussion of the abdomen?
Yes.
What were your findings?
It was normal.
You did auscultation?
Yes.
What were your findings?
Normal.
And then did an inspection of the genitalia?
Yes.
You found that to be normal as well?
Normal.
Did you do a rectal examination?
I probably was not the one that physically did it, but it was done in my presence.
And found to be normal?
Yes.
Under stool, there is something written that I can't read.
Heme negative, meaning there was no bloods in the stools.
Under extremities, it's checked as normal, and you have written what?
No obvious bony deformity.
How did you check the extremities?
By inspection and palpation. He had no obvious fractures.
The joints you have checked as normal. What joints would it be that you checked at that time?
Also extremities.
Did you check for meningeal signs?
No, you are not allowed to move the neck in a trauma patient.
Would you describe for me how the neurological examination that you performed on this first examination that you did?
Neurological exam, he was awake and oriented.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Tell me first what you did, and then we will get to the results.
What I did was examination, and by how he was answering questions, I evaluated his responsiveness.
Did you do at this time any pinprick tests?
No.
Or any objective tests of that nature?
No, this is also a primary survey, quick and brief.
So you wouldn't have been hitting him with hammers or anything like that?
No.
Neurological. Would you read for me what you have written under that section?
Awake, oriented to name only, combative, confused, moving all four extremities strongly, and answers questions appropriately.
When you say that he was oriented to name only, what was he not oriented to?
To where he was and when it was.
How did you elicit that he was not oriented to those things?
He did not know where he was. He did not realize he was in the hospital.
What, if anything, was the significance to you of his moving all four extremities strongly?
He showed no focal signs of neurological deficits.
Other than what you have told me about what you have asked him, when you wrote answers questions appropriately, is it those questions that you have already told me about?
Yes.
During this part of the exam, did you ask him something else?
Those questions that I asked him initially.
His speech, you checked, was normal.
Yes.
Cranial nerves, how did you examine the cranial nerves at this time?
That's also a very brief inspection of the face and how he moves his face in conversation.
Is that at the end of the physical examination that you did?
Yes.
You wrote an impression. Would you read that for me, please?
18-year-old, Hispanic male in high-speed head-on collision. Rule out closed head injury.
The next thing on this list or plan is diagnostic. The blood work that was drawn at the time of this examination, generally speaking, how long would it take for that to come back so that it appeared on your initial examination sheets?
The blood gas comes back first. That's usually within 10-15 minutes. The rest of it takes at least an hour.
Now, can you, starting with the top line under bloods with the 138, tell me what the number represents. That is, what test is it, and then tell me whether it's high or low or within normal limits.
The sodium was 138. That was normal. Potassium was 3.7. That was normal.